Okay. We are now streaming live and the meeting is now open. I'm calling it to order at 9:30 on Tuesday, January 5th.
Good morning. I will make a motion to approve our minutes from the December 29th, 2020 meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? Roll.
Hudson,
Yes.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
Yes. Next up, we have the commissioners' organizational resolutions.
So the first resolution is the reorganization resolution and setting dates of session for 2021. I will make a motion to approve.
I will second the motion.
Any discussion? Roll.
Hudson,
Yes.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
Yes.
All right. As now the newly elected president of the board, would like to officially welcome Steve Hambley back. Steve, good to have you here. And I'm looking forward to working with you over the next 4 years.
Welcome,
So
Steve.
thank you.
Same here. Glad to be here.
So I have 3 more resolutions that are denominated Commissioners Resolutions 2, 3, and 4 in your packets. The first resolution is appointing county commissioners to various committees and areas of responsibility for the year 2021. The second resolution is designating the official representative and alternate for the purpose of voting at the annual meeting of the CCAO in 2021. And the third resolution is appointing representatives and alternates to the Northeast Ohio Area-Wide Coordinating Agency for 2021. Could I have a motion to approve those 3 resolutions?
Move to approve all 3 resolutions. All
I'll
4.
second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes. Next up on our agenda, we have Andy Conrad, and I believe Dan, there he is.
Yes,
Becker is standing in for Andy. So you have a few resolutions for us?
Yes, sir. I have 4 resolutions today I'd like to read. The first resolution is authorizing the county engineer to proceed in certain instances by force account in the reconstruction improvement of county roads, bridges, and culverts. The second resolution is approving the final change order to the contract for MED-CR97 for the replacement of bridge number 27 on Greenwich Road. The third resolution is authorizing the president of the Board of the County Commissioners to submit applications for issue 1 funding. And the final resolution is authorizing the county commissioners to participate in the ODOT cooperative purchasing plan.
Thank you, Dan. And we also have the permits.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
First time I screwed
You're
up.
good. You're good. So could I have a motion to approve those 4 resolutions?
Move to approve all 4 resolutions.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Colleen. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
Yes.
Hudson,
Yes. Next up on the agenda, we have Amy Lyon Calvin, our Assistant County Administrator.
Good morning.
Good morning, Amy.
I have resolutions this morning to present for both the Finance Department and the Human Resources Department. If I may, I'll present Finance first.
Thank you.
So for Finance, we have 9 resolutions this morning. The first resolution is declaring Medina County property as excess property. The second resolution is approving the transfer of Medina County inventory between various Medina County offices. The third resolution is the sales tax distribution to the various school districts located in Medina County. The fourth resolution is adoption of a revised mileage reimbursement rate that matches what the Internal Revenue Service posts for 2021. It's a reduction from 57.5 cents per mile to 56 cents per mile effective January 1 of 2021. The fifth resolution is authorizing agreements with various veterinarians for dog spay and neuter services for the Medina County Animal Shelter You'll see one veterinary hospital listed. This is in addition to the resolution we'd previously passed with the others. The sixth resolution is approving a contract with the Medina County Health Department for the provision of dental services at the Medina County Jail. It's a 12-month contract commencing January 1st of 2021, ending December 31st of 2021 at the not to exceed cost of $20,907. The seventh resolution is approving an agreement with Advanced Correctional Healthcare for inmate medical services. This is a 2-year base contract beginning January 1 of 2021 through December 31st, 2022. The monthly cost for that is $45,334.54 for a total annual contract cost in 21 of $544,014.47. The eighth resolution, this is presuming we're able to go back to live meetings at some point during the calendar year 2021 to authorize the purchase of beverages and refreshments for various commissioners' meetings. And the ninth resolution is the claims for the week against the county in the amount of $315,208.34.
Thank you. Go
I'll
ahead.
move to approve all 9 resolutions.
Thank you, Steve.
Second,
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
yes.
Hudson.
Yes. Amy, you have 2 HR resolutions.
I do. So the first HR resolution is approving personnel changes for the employees under the jurisdiction of the Medina County Commissioners. There's a rate increase in line maintenance for sanitary, a leave of absence in transit, and a resignation at the Office of Older Adults. And the second resolution is authorizing an employee assistance program agreement extension with REACH EAP. It's for a 1-year period beginning February 1, 2021 through January 31st, 2022.
Move to approve both resolutions.
Second,
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
yes.
Hudson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Jeremy Cinco. Jeremy, there you are. A couple of resolutions, I see, 3 of them.
That's correct. Hope everyone had a good holiday. I had 3 resolutions here. The first is authorizing expenditures related to solid waste district sponsored meetings. The second resolution is declaring the necessity to relocate an existing water pump station to 3510 Medina Road in Medina Township, approving the detailed bid specifications and authorizing the sanitary engineer to commence advertising for construction bids. And the last is to consent to the completion of a proposed road improvement project on State Route 3 and 162 in Medina County, and that's with ODOT.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Move to approve the 3 resolutions.
Thank you, Steve.
I do have a question.
Well, let me get a second, Colleen.
Okay, sorry.
Second,
Thank you. Go ahead, Steve.
Sorry, thanks, Jeremy. Just to clarify, the reason for moving of the pump station was because of the request of ODOT?
Yeah, over on State Route 18, they're doing that road widening project pretty much from Nettleton Road west to the hospital. Our pump station is located in a water main easement or a water easement on the southeast intersection of River Styx Road and 18. And as part of their widening project, they need that space. So they booted us out, and they bought they did acquire new easement and property for us over by a Goodyear Tire. So we're going to be relocating it, and the cost, I think, all but about $30,000 will be covered by ODOT. So it's like a $918,000 project.
I guess just to clarify that would not have changed this or gone through this expense if but for ODOT was doing that roadway widening and public improvement.
That is correct.
Thank you.
Any other comment? Roll call, please.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
yes.
Hudson.
Yes. Thank you, Jeremy. I have one question for you, Jeremy. On the Lake Road project, the renovations of the building in the front, I forget the address of it,
8730.
8730.
Yep.
When is that going to be rebid?
It advertised yesterday. So
Okay.
we will go ahead and open 3 weeks from yesterday.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Thank
Yep.
you. So Steve, you want to make a motion to go into executive session?
Yeah, and Chairman, if you wouldn't mind, I did want to say a comment if we could. If I could. I think it'd be appropriate to, if you don't mind, noting the passing of Don Simmons, former commissioner, in today's paper. And I think many of us have been close to family. There's no doubt that he had an impact on this county, and not only as commissioner, as public service, but certainly all the many decades his involvement in economic development. I know each of us have our stories and experiences with Don over the years. And I guess the one thing I would share is he has such an energy and advocacy for the skilled trades. I know that he was one of our biggest advocates for, I guess, the value of people being able to work with their hands, create and build things. Obviously, as a builder, contractor, you have greater appreciation, but he kind of recognized from generation to generation those kind of legacies and the quality of building that we've done and passed on. And certainly Medina County has benefited so much by his presence and his being here. And obviously our condolences from the Board of Commissioners and for many of us personally for his passing. So I hope you didn't mind me kind of interjecting.
No, that's fine, Steve. I don't know how many years, several decades that I knew Don, and most frequently I would run into him at fundraisers for various organizations throughout the county, and he and his wife Edith were always supporting organizations and just very gracious. And Don always had an interesting perspective about the county, and he always thought big about what the county should be like, and so on. So
I'd
he
like
will be
to,
dearly missed.
right, he was a wonderful man. Besides being a community leader in business and as commissioner, he was also a huge advocate of 4-H and supported the fair in many ways, and he will be greatly missed.
Okay, with that, I'll go ahead and make the motion that the Board of Commissioners move into executive session for the purpose of personnel compensation.
Okay, and we will do that after we do our discussion session.
Right.
And department updates. Thank you. Could I have a second?
Second?
Roll call, please.
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
Yes.
Hudson.
Yes. Thank you, Steve. Let's move into our department updates. First, we have Denise Testa from the Planning Services area.
Yes, hi, good morning and Happy New Year.
You too.
I put together a report. However, if there are additional information items that you would like to see each month from the planning office, please let me know, since this is I'm still in my rookie season. At any rate, for 2020, we saw 137 projects, including major and minor subdivisions, as well as text and map amendments. For our January Planning Commission meeting, we are reviewing 2 final plats, one in Brunswick Hills, the Wexford subdivision. That includes 27 sublots. The second one, many of you probably already know about. It's called the Market at Medina Line in Granger, the former Menards location. Those include 11 commercial sublots. We also have invited Mike Lyons from the prosecutor's office to serve as our first guest speaker for the year. And we've invited all of our townships to that guest speaker as well. And then we'll also be nominating and electing our officers. That's on this Wednesday. In addition to that, since I've started in September, we've completed our successful move to the county building. And I've really appreciated Stephen Bastian and his team's assistance with that. And the initial feedback from our clients and residents indicate that they really like the one-stop experience, so they don't have to go to multiple buildings now to complete their business. We've also implemented, Rob, Cheryl, and I, some operational improvements leading to increased efficiencies in some cases, decreasing our time on task between 50 and 75% while maintaining our quality customer service. We've also, I appreciated Rhonda's help with the Records Commission. So we revised our RC2 in order to decrease our paper footprint. And then finally, I did submit yesterday a request from Harrisville Township, who is amending their zoning code and resolution. And I didn't know if that was something you would like to speak about today, or if you had other topics on your mind. I'm happy to entertain any questions, and you'll have to excuse me, my lights just went out, so.
It's energy efficiency at work.
There you go. Gotta love it. Keeps my arms in shape.
Denise, say a little bit more about the Menards project. That is off the table now, and they've decided to split the property into sublots.
Yeah, so what it actually, I don't have it in front of me right now. However, it's actually Menards with 11 sublots around it that includes commercial buildings, office buildings. So it includes.
Is planning on going forward then?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So there's a roundabout included. There is an ingress from Route 18 just west of Medina Line Road, and then they will have I believe they're connecting to a neighboring area just west of that as well, so that there will actually be one entrance and 2 exits. So yeah, so I was pleasantly surprised when I saw that they had 11 sublots included in that, but Menards is kind of like in the center, and then there's a roundabout that goes around Menards. So it's very impressive.
Good, good.
The proposal that you gave us regarding Harrisville, do
Yes.
we need to discuss that? I'm in favor of it. I didn't know whether we needed to discuss that. So do we need a resolution if we go forward with your proposal?
I can certainly write a resolution. I think that I just wanted to kind of get that on the table and see if you are interested in it. I can put a resolution together for you.
Is that something, Denise, that the commissioners are actually funding? As I understood the memo, it looked like the money was coming from sources other than the county commissioners.
Right, so this is actually a request for the Medina County Comprehensive Plan Grant Assistance Program. So what I had met with Harrisville a couple days ago, and they were able to bring in, $2,500 from their township. However, the cost of the project may exceed their initial quote. And so I just thought that it might be a good idea to give them that flexibility in case they needed some additional funds, and it could decrease the township's contribution to that. I looked at their zoning code. I met with Tom Guggenbiller, their zoning inspector, and it's been quite a while since they've had a zoning code reformat and rewrite. So it is time intensive, and they will need to hire a professional consultant to complete it. And of course, planning services will assist them throughout the process.
So, Bill, years ago, the commissioners put money aside to help townships with their plans. And so over the years, we've had townships who have applied. I think the last one was, I think Brunswick, actually, we gave them $5,000 last year. So it's set aside in a separate fund, and Denise has like 4,000, 5,000, I think, left in the fund.
For some reason, 8,000 is sticking
8,000?
in my mind, but I'm not sure where I'm pulling that number from though.
Okay, so as these townships need the money, they'll come to us and they'll ask for an amount, and then we will have to put on resolution and present to the commissioners authorizing the assistance to that township.
Yeah, I'd point out, I actually haven't had the experience. This came as a result of some comprehensive planning of the Planning Commission dating back to the late 90s, early 2000s, where we came up with this planning assistant grant program But I was glad to see it still exists. There's still some money. It actually was intended more than just for townships, but also villages as well as the cities were qualified, I think, historically to receive it. The idea was to encourage the local governments to plan for all the growth that was going on. As I understand it, we're probably on the edge of another growth spurt coming up into Medina County like we saw in the 90s. So I think if we've got the cash certainly and budget, I would certainly encourage the idea of having these various communities continue to look at their zoning updates, their comprehensive plans with all the growth and development that is going on. So I think that it's something that the commissioners have historically tried to encourage, and making sure that they are cooperating with one another when they develop these plans. That it's not a single island. It's basically what they do in one community affects their borders and the adjoining communities. And this was a way for the commissioners to encourage that. So I obviously think it's a good thing for us to continue to work with them, and obviously future budget considerations aside, that this is something that we've got the cash that certainly got to be evaluating it.
I'm in full agreement with Denise's proposal.
Yeah, my question, Steve, you touched on it right at the end. Where does the funding for the grant program come from? Is that from the commissioners and the general fund?
It originally wasn't an annual appropriation. And I think whenever we got into tough times, we didn't give money to it, but it had to do it more at the discretion of the commissioners and evaluating the budgetary needs of the planning commission. But in the past, it would obviously be based upon the need of a community and that they would leverage it. So I would encourage that continued model, but it'd have to be annually evaluated. And I think that's the importance of it.
Okay. Any other questions for Denise? Or Denise, any other comments?
No, thank you for having me this morning.
We appreciate it, and we would like to have you back on a regular basis. So keep up the good work. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have Forrest Thompson, our county prosecutor, to give us a little update on what's going on in the prosecutor's office.
Morning, everyone. Thank you.
Good morning, Forrest.
Appreciate the opportunity. Well, like everyone else, COVID has impacted our office for a period of time. We obviously were on an alternating work schedule. Fortunately, and you know, I always go back and give credit to where credit is due. Back 3 years ago, when I asked for funding to support the Matrix program, and that was approved. By happenstance, Matrix was the perfect fit when we were hit with COVID, because we were able to seamlessly work from home. Everyone already had laptops, and effectively, if they had a laptop and a cell phone, they could handle business as usual as far as the attorneys are concerned. Not so much with the staff support, but we had a rotating schedule that we have implemented at higher levels or lower levels as the circumstances have dictated. So we've been able to maintain the functionality of the office in a fairly seamless fashion with relatively minor hiccups during the past 6 or 8 months. We had approximately 1,000 criminal cases opened in 2020. That's down slightly from our numbers of, we've averaged around 1,400. Much of that had to do with, it certainly wasn't a drop in crime, so much as it was the impact of COVID on law enforcement and their abilities with their shifting responsibilities to submit reports and to follow up with indictments. We continue to work with them, and we continue to work on those. I would point out that one of the things that is disturbing, and I can't say it in any other way, I don't know that it's necessarily a surprise, but the level of domestic violence has increased, I wouldn't say dramatically, but it's an identifiable uptick. Obviously, again, I'm sure that it has its roots at the frustrations that people are experiencing, and we're mindful of that. But I think it's important to recognize that if a domestic violence case gets to our office, it's because there's a history. And so that's a concern that I think everybody needs to be aware of. And we're continuing to reach out to law enforcement to ask for any input they can give us to sort of stem that before it gets to that crisis level. Obviously, prevention is a far better avenue to take. Juvenile courts, we were on par. We had about 680 total cases in 2020. And of course, that includes delinquency as well as traffic cases. All of those are reported through. So those were not substantially different numbers than what we anticipated. We had 865 matters open through our civil division in 2020. Something over about 230 of those issues were contractual in nature through townships or various offices around the county. We about 182 in tax collection. These are matters that come to us through the auditor's office or through the treasurer on collection of taxes. We had 34 litigation matters that were opened. Most of those have been resolved at one level or another, but nothing that really jumps out. We are still very concerned, as Scott I know is already aware because he and I have had numerous conversations about this. Our victims advocates, we had a substantial late season hit. Our VOCA grant funding was cut by 45% with almost no advance notice whatsoever. So we had to kind of scramble around and find some additional funding. With the Marcy's Law, and I'm moving very quickly through these topics, but victims advocates, we have this basic, what I would call an unfunded mandate through Marcy's Law that we have to provide these services, which we're obviously, we welcome the opportunity to provide the services to victims, and yet we're having a harder and harder time finding funding for that. So that's something that we're going to be addressing through 2021, and we're going to be looking at funding opportunities, additional grant opportunities, and expanding our net to find additional funding for that. So,
Forrest, how much is that? Roundabout numbers, how much are you talking?
I don't recall the exact numbers, Bill.
Okay.
But all the hard part of the VOCA funding was that we were notified on the 26th. It was either the 26th or the 27th of August of the reduction of the 45%, and that took effect September 1. Literally had 2 or 3 days to adjust. So we're pretty much on the fly, and I really have to thank Scott for stepping up and helping me out there. I don't like to show up at Scott's office with my hat in my hand, but I and he was gracious. So I truly appreciate it. Business is normal. The physical plant is fine. They just redid our roof. They're continuing to redo our roof. There have been apparently some glitches, but the overall physical structure is fine, and we're continuing. We're going to be back at full strength within the next week, and we're going to continue with business as normal, and we're going to move forward. And hopefully, we have an expanding county, and we have constantly ongoing, legal issues that come with that growth. So we're fully staffed and ready to meet the challenges.
Excellent. Thank you, Forrest.
Thank you.
Any questions for Forrest?
Okay.
Thank you, Forrest. Have a great
You bet.
2021.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That concludes our department updates. let's move into our discussion session. Steve, do you have anything?
No, just glad to be here and just fully on board and ready to continue working.
Good to have you. Good to Colleen,
No, nothing this morning.
Scott?
Yes. I'd like to talk about the courthouse this morning. So there have been last week and the week before, I met with the judges and with Dave Wadsworth, clerk of courts, and we've got the probate juvenile court, the common pleas courts, general division, and the clerk of courts. They've given the okay. We had to make some minor adjustments to their floors, but I think the plans as we currently have them, they're happy with. The domestic relations court, I met with them last week. And this was before the vote that Medina took to put the referendum on the ballot in May. But they had some concerns. They had some concerns about security. They had concerns about the space that they were being given. And so in discussing it with them, we talked about two different things. We talked about the plans themselves and changes that could possibly be made to address those issues. And so what they did, one of the issues with the prior plans that Nancy presented a couple of weeks ago was that the hearing rooms were split. You had two hearing rooms on the west side of the building, and then you had the other hearing rooms, three hearing rooms in the courtroom on the east side. So we moved those hearing rooms down, the two hearing rooms from the west to the east, so that all the hearing rooms in the courtroom were in one area. We put a door in on the west side that limits access to the west part of the building, so that the public cannot get in that area without invitation. And then they also had an issue with the waiting room and the size of the waiting room. So we knocked a couple of walls out between the new construction and the old courthouse. We made it larger. So I know that I got these plans late yesterday afternoon, about 7 o'clock. I checked my email last night about 10, and I forwarded these over to Judge Kovac. She has not had a chance to look at these and to get back to me on these. But during my discussion with Judge Kovac last week, we were talking about how they would operate during the renovation of the 1841 courthouse. And I mentioned that we would have to move them into the 69 courthouse on a temporary basis. And at that point, she asked if it was possible for them to just stay in the 69 courthouse and to not take the new space. I told her that I would present it to you. I told her that I thought that we were very, very far along in the planning of this, that I didn't know that it would be possible, but that I would check with the architects, see if they could design something quickly, and then check with the commission just to get your thoughts on that. I will say that the current space that Domestic Relations Court has is about 6,500 square feet. Not including the public areas, it's about 4,400 square feet. The plans as currently being proposed would increase their space to 13,500 feet and 11,500 feet, not including the public areas. The 69 building, there's about 22,400 square feet, including the public areas, with about 14,600 square feet, not including the public areas. We have three options for the 69 courthouse. We can move domestic relations court into that portion of the building. Obviously, the city had talked to us a while back about moving into the courthouse. There was a couple of requirements that they had to meet. I know that Mayor Hanwell had called me a couple of weeks ago and said that based on the ballot language last November, that they cannot spend any money on getting a feasibility study done. So at that point in time, we weren't sure we weren't sure if they were going to be able to move in, but it's come to light after the fact that Brand Third Carroll is working on something for them pro bono. So we've got the city moving in. Obviously, originally, I was going to be moving some county offices in there out of the professional building so that we could sell the professional building. So I just need to know from the board what direction you want to take. I know we have to finalize these plans and we have to get these finalized so we can move it in the next phase. So I would like your input and comments.
Scott, from my perspective, my preference would be to keep the domestic relations court in the space that we have designed for them in the 1840 section of the building, and not keep them in the 69 edition. I think there are other options that are better options, and that we should go forward in that direction.
I would agree. I like all of our county operations to be in one building as far as courts go. So I would like to keep them in the new section. I did see last week that the city did take a vote in exploring the possibility of the 69 for their needs. And I'd like them to be able to continue that, exploring that possibility.
I wanted to clarify, Scott, as I understand, since I'm just jumping into it, and then you sent the designs, kind of granting the wish of the domestic relations court to stay in the 69 building would have a significant impact on some of the other courts, correct? In the new building?
It would probably entail eliminating a floor, moving the probate juvenile court to the clerk of courts, or down a floor, and it would split the two courts. There'd be a common pleas courtroom between probate and juvenile court. Obviously, we currently have one judge overseeing both of those courts, so you would have that separation of those two courts,
which really doesn't work. They need to be together.
That's what I thought. So yeah, this kind of late in the process to kind of redesign and have an impact like that. So I'm obviously agreeing with the other two commissioners that at this point, with the designs you've got ahead of us, it seems that you are legitimately, significantly increasing the amount of square footage available for domestic relations to accommodate their needs. There's no doubt, and I have no reason to argue with the current plan that you've presented.
And so, Scott, the sequencing would be to construct the addition, move courtroom 1 and 2, and then probate juvenile over into the new building, and then temporarily relocate domestic over into the 69 part while that space is being renovated. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
All right. I will contact Judge Kovac today, and I'll get her input on the current redesign of the domestic area, and I will let the architects know that we are moving forward with this current design, and we can move into the next stage. I will also say that I talked to Nancy this morning, and they have she sent an email out this morning to some of the community groups with the exterior.
Mm-hmm.
So that's out there. I think she also sent that to Mayor Hanwell.
Who's Nancy?
I'm sorry, Nancy knows. She's the lead
Architect.
Okay, thank you.
on the project.
All right.
Fair question, Steve. Anything else, Scott?
No, thank you. That's all.
All right, thank you. Rhonda, anything? Jeremy, anything?
Yeah, I got actually two things real quick. One, I was looking next week to present resolution. the solid waste management or yard waste management contract is coming up at the end or in February 11th of this year. The contract allows for one last 1-year renewal, which will increase the, which was awarded to Smith Brothers. That'll increase the their costs from $22 per ton this year to $23 per ton next year. So the plan was just to go ahead and exercise that last year renewal. And then the last item I have here is the bulk water rate. So we have one bulk water rate customer, which is rural Lorraine. We have 3 separate master meters that we charge them to, and those are at Earhart, Columbia, and Branch Road. And, excuse me, the last time that we increased our bulk water rate was 2012. So, and at that time, the bulk water rate was approximately 50% of our user rate. So I would like to kind of get that back up to where that needs to be. As you know, Avon Lake and rural Lorraine have continued to increase their rates, our bulk water rates. We've just been kind of keeping our bulk water rate the same. So our current bulk water rate of, or I'm sorry, our current user rate is $8.70 per 1,000 gallons. So to get that about 50% of that, that would put us at $4.35. So I was looking to maybe do a 2-step increase. So, you know, July 1st, we would increase that bulk rate 70 cents from $3 to $3.70. And then January 1st of 2022, we can increase it another 65 cents to get us to $4.35. So I got this in a memo, which I'll send out to Scott and then the 3 commissioners. So just wanted to kind of discuss that as far as based on
Jeremy,
rural
have you talked to Lorraine County about the increase and?
Yeah, I talked with Joe Waldecker, letting him know that, hey, we haven't increased this in about 8 years and that we were going to be looking to do that. And we had a good conversation about it. It's looking like maybe about a $77,000 increase to rural Lorraine in beginning in 2022. So.
Okay.
Jeremy, could you provide us some, I guess, a little bit more history on the rates? It's been a while since I've been this close in contact, as
Sure.
well as, and I know I can follow it up with some of my own questions regarding the bulk rates and how that might relate to other systems.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Anything else?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
I did have one thing. I wanted to, at some point, do we want to discuss, even though we'll still be streaming and our building will still be closed and we'll limit at some point, do we want to discuss moving back into the other room?
Well, why don't we discuss it right now?
Okay.
So with Colleen, since you brought it up, do you feel that we should go back to having our meetings live with the commissioners in the commissioners hearing room?
I do. I mean, we took caution when we were in purple and, you know, we were going for some extra separation. We're now out of purple, and the whole time we were red, we were in the other building, which did facilitate the conversations a little more openly. So as long as we keep our separation and keep our employees to under 10, like we strive to the whole year, I would be fine with going back into the other room.
Steve, you okay with that?
Yeah, as I understand it, then our employee that various department heads and people are presenting would be coming and basically scheduled to come in and
Right.
present in person.
Right.
It would
We
still be
limit
available.
the number. Yeah.
Okay, but it still would be available on Facebook in terms of the video and streaming. Okay.
We
got
would
it.
stream it live as we did prior to, gosh, what was it? Sometime in November when we started doing
Right.
Zoom meetings because of increased number of cases. So
Right.
I'm good with that. So
Okay.
I guess for our next meeting, which will be the 12th, we'll plan on doing it with the commissioners in the hearing room together.
Okay.
All right. Very good. So Amy, I'm not sure, did I skip over you? Nothing? Brian, Dan? I think we're good. We are now going to go into executive session. It is 10:16 a.m. we will come back from executive session and then adjourn our meeting accordingly. So I think we are going to go into the commissioners' conference room right now.
Very good.
All right, Brian, let me know when we're ready. We're good? All right. So it is 10:55 a.m. And we are out of executive session. Could I have a motion to adjourn the general session?
Move to adjourn.
Thank you,
Second,
Jason. Colleen, roll call?
Hambley,
Yes.
Sweattick,
yes.
Hudson.
Yes. Thank you and have a great week, everybody.
See you next week.